Welcome, everybody, to Spirituality Adventures. This is a non-judgmental place to explore spirituality, and we're so glad you're here. This is a viewer and listener-supported podcast, so we greatly appreciate your support. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, share, and subscribe to any of the social media content platforms that you're using. And then if you go to our website, spiritualityadventures.com, you can make a one-time donation, or with a monthly subscription, you'll gain access to our bonus content. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. All right, welcome everybody to Spirituality Adventures. We're glad you're tuned in. And today I have Nicki White, and she is a singer, songwriter, musician here in Kansas City. And we just met just a few weeks ago. I went to a friend of mine, Candy Kearns, is the owner of, how do you say the restaurant? Is it?
Trago.
Trago, which is a kind of like a Spanish tapas restaurant. And and Nicki was playing one night. I went there with my mom and dad and one of my sisters. And it was fun, man. You sounded great.
Thank you.
And I loved the vibe, and so we got to chat. And I said, "Hey, you should come do a podcast," and you did it.
I did.
And
Here I am.
You are. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So cool. So, give us a little background. Tell us where you grew up, and kind of maybe a little bit about your family background and some of that stuff.
So I grew up in Raymore and Peculiar. I lived in Harrisonville. Elementary school, and then Peculiar, and then I moved to Raymore, so Cass County area. My mom is musical. My dad's also musical.
Oh.
So my mom played the flute in high school band, and she was always first chair. So her ear is just one of the best that I've ever known, as when it comes to music and hearing things and just knowing when people are on. She'll see someone just start to play bass on stage, be like, oh wow, they're a good bass player, like right off the bat, you know. And then my dad plays guitar. He's never done it professionally or anything, but he owns probably like 25 guitars. So and a lot of amps and a lot of pedals, and he plays. So some of my early memories of being like 4 years old, just him blaring his electric guitars on his oversized amps in the living room. So my parents both have great taste in music. It's very eclectic. From Shania Twain to Prince to the Stones to the Beatles.
Wow.
To R.L. Burnside, Bonnie Raitt. So a lot of
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you have siblings, right?
Yeah. I have 3 sisters.
Okay.
And they're all musical as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So they've never.
Are they older or younger?
So I have 2 older sisters and 1 younger.
Okay.
And they can all sing. My oldest sister, Allie, she can play the saxophone, mandolin, guitar. She could play the drums. I mean, she more gravitates towards the saxophone and guitar and mandolin and mandotar. But yeah.
Mandotar. What is that?
It's a small.
How do I not know of an instrument? Mandotar.
I haven't thought about it in a while, but and I haven't seen it in a while either. But I think it's a smaller version of. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's basically just a hybrid of a mandolin and a guitar. And I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what it looks like and what it entails.
Have you heard of one of these, Matt? Man,
they come in like either 6-string or 12-string, but it's like the body of a mandolin, similar scale to a guitar, but like a short neck.
All right.
Like
Thank you.
frets are really close together.
Yeah.
And it's more fretted like a guitar with wider frets.
I want to say she has a 12-string one.
Oh, wow.
Super fun.
That is awesome. So did you ever do anything together? Like you could be a powerhouse sister band. No.
I'm pulling for that. I've been pulling for that for a long time. My sister Allie and I, the one that I was just talking about, she has played cajon with me at a show, and we've played like my dad. There's YouTube videos of me and her playing. I think she played cajon in those YouTube videos too, and then my youngest sister, Donnie, she sings, and she'll sing with me sometimes. We recorded a song like Amanda Perez. I don't know if you know who that is. She was really popular in the early 2000s. Okay. She had like a couple hits, but we recorded, not released it, but one of her songs. Like I sang harmony with her. She has a really beautiful voice, my sister does. So I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Keep singing with me.
That's
because it's so beautiful to hear family harmonies.
Right.
It's just, they're so in sync.
It's amazing.
And yeah, it's just incredible to me. So
I had, sitting around this table here, have you ever heard of Jake Wells?
Yeah.
So, he grew up in a fundamental Baptist church family.
Oh, really?
Mom, dad, and all of the siblings traveled and did gospel music, and they lived in a bus basically and traveled the country and sang at churches growing up.
I didn't know that
they were
about
like
Jake.
Homeschooled and all this stuff. So his brother Jordan Thompson I've gotten close to the whole family, to Jordan and Jake. Jake's in Nashville now, but so I had Brooke, Jordan, and Jake here. Did an interview with 3 of them. There's 2 other siblings, I think.
5 total.
But then the 3 of them sang and did harmonies like you're talking about, and it was killer, man.
Mm-hmm. Give you the chills.
Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah, so that's
awesome.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah. But you only have a couple of recordings with you and your dad, or you and one of your sisters?
Yeah,
Nothing.
I have some stuff with my dad. He's played, nothing released, but my dad recorded guitar on one of my songs. And I have it in my computer still, but yeah. And then on YouTube, it's me and my oldest sister, Allie. We have some stuff, and also my mom too. We did a show at Knuckleheads in the Gospel Lounge, and my mom played flute, my sister played cajon, and I played guitar and sang. And
fun.
Those are on YouTube too.
I'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get to your YouTube channel. So very cool. And so did you start playing like at a very young age? And what was your first instrument?
Singing was my first instrument, I would say. Mm-hmm. I would make up songs and like perform them in front of my mom. But then I gravitated towards guitar. My mom wanted me to play flute and be in band really badly. And I understand why now. But at the time, I didn't really have any friends that were in band. Mm-hmm. They were all in choir. And I was good at playing the flute. And, I enjoyed it. But like I said, like none of my friends were in there. I didn't really connect with people in there that much. And so I told my mom, like, please don't make me be in band. If you let me take guitar lessons, I will do that. I will pursue guitar if you let me get out of band. And we kind of had to fight over it, like she was really against it, but eventually I did. And so I was like 12 when I got my first guitar. But I would pick up my dad's, around the house when I was like 10, 11. Just fart around on that, not knowing what I was doing. So. Did
you start writing music fairly early, or?
Yeah.
Like, what age was that?
12, 13.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. I have this composition notebook that is full of songs about heartbreak at 13 years old.
Yeah. So tragic. So tragic.
I mean, at that time it was.
It
you know?
was, yeah. I hear you. So what was so you had a lot of music going on in the family. Did your family have any type of faith background? Did you grow, what was that like?
So we went to church every Sunday up until, what age was I? I don't know. 13, 14 years old. In Harrisonville, and it was a Mennonite church.
Really?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting that.
So,
Interesting.
our pastor was really cool. He was a great down-to-earth man, and
Actually, there's things I really like about the Mennonites, you know?
yeah.
I mean, anyway.
I honestly don't know even that much about Mennonite, because it was more Christian based. You know what I mean? It's open.
I know a lot about them, and what's fascinating, Mennonites are pacifists.
What does that mean?
Nonviolent.
Okay.
You know, like the early Mennonites wouldn't bear arms. They wouldn't.
Okay.
They were anti-war.
Okay.
They took Jesus's teachings about nonviolence and love your enemies seriously, is what I like to say.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of Christians that don't.
Maybe that's why I'm so afraid of guns.
Yeah. Well, me too. I don't own one. I do have a pellet gun, but anyway. No, no, they have a long history of the Mennonites, and they've done, of course, the Amish is a really close spinoff, but the Amish, they're a little bit, they've rejected a lot of modern technology.
Yes.
Whereas the Mennonites, I think, have adapted modern technologies, but still keep to some of that core nonviolent. They're usually really good socially minded people. Like social justice causes would have been important, I would think.
That makes sense to me.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There were a few Amish families that went to that church.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah. But then my pastor would let people wear camouflage t-shirts and stuff like that too. It wasn't like you have to dress up,
Yeah.
He wasn't strict about that at all. I think there was one point where he had to tell someone you can't wear sweats every Sunday. You have to wear at least jeans, so there was that aspect. But my mom actually played flute in the band.
Okay.
And the band was amazing.
Cool.
Really amazing. So that was cool to watch her perform every Sunday.
So was that a positive thing in your life? Were there positive things to it or negative things to it?
For me,
I'm curious,
for me, it was positive.
Okay.
I don't agree with. My oldest sister who I was talking about is gay, and I don't know if they agree with that or not because I stopped going at 13.
Okay.
The only negative part about it for me was waking up so early because my mom had to get there by she played the first service and second service. So that was negative for me.
Right.
I would bring my sleeping bag sometimes. And
your Saturday night parties, and now you got to get up early Sunday morning.
Yeah. But other than that, I never felt judged by the people that would sit next to me, at least. I felt like a loving presence from them. They cared about me. They cared about my mom. They cared about my sisters. They encouraged us, They never, that I know of, thought negative about us. I don't know, so.
It's so fascinating. I always ask this question, and I love asking musicians because, even my hip hop friends, a lot of them got their start. Even if they don't have anything to do with church now, for some people, church was a really negative experience. It was full of judgment and all that kind of stuff. But But even if it was negative, so many musicians got their start in churches. I mean, almost every black rapper I know started singing in church.
Yeah.
Most of rock, country, a lot of times there's orientations with family and then church, and so it's like for all the pluses and minuses of churches out there,
Right.
they have been they've been a little community of that has at least nurtured musicians across, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
No,
that's a
it's
plus.
a thing.
Usually.
I've noticed
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would sing.
Yeah.
I would sing.
Fun. So what made you exit? You stopped going at 13? Did you just kind of drift away and
Yeah,
no friends?
I mean, it was in Harrisonville, and we had moved to Raymore at that point, so it's like it's far away, and I was getting into like drinking at that age, a very young age, and so partying, like you said, on Saturday nights. Yeah, I would be hungover and trying to hide it from my mom. So I think it was mostly that, and I didn't see at that point in my life that I needed to go to church, or, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't feel the need, I guess. So.
Did, over the course of your life, has there been any kind of like spirituality that was nurtured or developed in another way?
Yeah.
Or what?
I would say in 2019, right before the pandemic hit, I stopped literally the week before we were to be shut down. I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking weed. And I had this like spiritual awakening from watching this show on YouTube from Vice. It's called The Therapist.
Okay.
And it was the therapist. His name was Siri Satnam Singh. And it would be like these open interview or therapy sessions with celebrities like Katy Perry.
Interesting.
And I want to say the guy from Korn or Nine Inch Nails. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the Corn guy?
Brian Welch.
Yeah.
It might be him. I don't know. That could be wrong. It's been a while since I've watched those. But yeah, so I was just listening to those. I like got enthralled into binged all of them.
Yeah.
And I was like hearing what they had talked about, like what kind of made them want to drink and want to gravitate towards drinking. And it brought me back these like flashbacks of my childhood that I was like, oh, wow, this is probably why I wanted to just get fucked up all the time at this age of my life and suppress all of these things that, went on. And so I was like, okay, I just need to get back to myself and my spirit. And I started meditating. I also...
do you know what kind of meditation? I'm doing a 2-year training in meditation with Tara Brock and Jack Cornfield.
Okay.
I'm just like 3 months into it now, but it's really been
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super interested in that.
This super overactive brain. That, like I was an insomniac for like 30 years because of my anxiety and all that kind of crap. And so, but I was just curious, like, do you know what type of meditation you got into? Or there's so many different kinds, but
I don't know what it's called, honestly.
Was it one of the people that who introduced you to that?
So,
is it something that came out in these therapy?
You know what it was?
Sessions?
I think even before I started watching those therapy sessions, I tried meditating because I love like self-help books. And I would read multiple ones that said, here's the way to happiness. Meditation is one, journaling is one, exercise, just like the ones that we hear about. But so I would try to meditate with like guided meditations at first on YouTube. And those got me to like, oh, I can do this. Because people, I think, shy away from it because they feel like I can't. I've heard people say like, I can't do that. I can't meditate. There's no way I could do that.
Right.
There's no way I could sit still.
Because they're too ADD or too ADHD and their brain goes crazy. Yeah. That's actually why I'm doing it.
I know. I can relate.
Yeah.
I mean, I get distracted. I have so many like projects that I'll get started on and then get away from. And so, yeah.
Huh. Cool.
And then, so when I saw this series on YouTube called The Therapist, and it had to have been a little bit like it had to have been a little bit before quarantine, because I was playing a show and this girl came up to me and she was doing henna. And at Parlor where I was playing. And she was super sweet and she was talking to me, and she's from India, and she was like, I miss my guru a lot. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know people had a guru that they would go to. And when I got home that night from her doing henna on my hand, which is why I have this tattoo now.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Thank you. I realized I had bought the guy's book, Siri Satnam Singh's book, and it's called The Pocket Guru. And I didn't realize that for some reason, and then I'm like, wow, okay, that's kind of like a synchronicity kind of thing. And so I started reading it, and it has 11 different meditations in it. One that can help you energize yourself, one that can help you calm down, one that can bring wisdom to you. It's super interesting. And then there's cool. There's different, I don't know how many words are in there, but there's different affirmations for certain words, like divorce. Say you're going through divorce. There's affirmations. He'll have like a paragraph about it, and then like affirmations that you can tell yourself to help with that situation. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, and then during quarantine, I got into meditating. Like in the book, it says,
and how old was your son at this time?
During quarantine?
Well, when you quit drinking and doing, that's 2019, so he was
2,
1 or 2 or something.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Okay.
And that was another reason why I wanted to stop drinking too, is because I would come home. There was one night in particular, I would come home like blackout from a gig, and I'm supposed to be taking care of another person, a baby.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. And I was sober for 3 years. I started drinking recently again, and I feel in a healthy spot.
Yeah.
With it.
Right.
I don't get blackout. I can say, okay, I can feel myself a little buzzed, so I should stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard to be sober.
Yeah, I understand. Believe me.
Yeah. But yeah, so then I meditated for almost 90 days straight.
Like did you sit and meditate?
So
I would stand or walk or.
I would sit. And I would do those different meditations that I felt like I needed to do from that book, for 11 minutes at a time.
Okay.
And so each one I would do like for calmness for 11 minutes. And then, there's like different breathing patterns that you do with them too. It's like, it's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's super good for you too. The science behind it is fun to research a little bit and kind of motivate you to get into it a little bit because it's so good. Well, that's cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, another really interesting. Have you ever listened to any of Howard Stern's interviews with musicians?
Times, yeah.
He's such an interesting guy, but he went through some kind of a 12-step program or something, and I think probably got into meditation but some kind of spirituality. And so, like when he interviews musicians now, like if you'd have known the old Howard Stern, and then the person that's interviewing now.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference, and he does really great interviews, especially with musicians. And he's a music nut.
Yeah.
Like he's
freak.
Yeah. Like really amazing. But no, some of this kind of stuff will come out when he's doing interviews. When you talk about there was a darkness that you were dealing with when you started drinking young, have you ever talked about any of that stuff? You don't have to, and you can just skip right past all that.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my probably deal was anxiety, and that's what got me into trouble late in my life. I only slept 3 hours a night or so, for most of 30 years.
Oh my God.
And then I finally went to a psychiatrist, and he put me on Xanax, which was like, I thought I found the magic pill, but then it wore off and I was still doing it. And then I started adding in like vodka shots on top. So I did Xanax and alcohol every night for almost 2.5 years. And it really screwed my brain up. Those are both very addictive kind of drugs. And so that's kind of what led to my whole meltdown, and then kind of, rebuilding my life now, and meditation's become a big part of it. So I love that stuff.
Good for you. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. Well, so what did you do after high school? Where did kind of jumping back into your teen
childhood
years? Yeah.
I graduated early from high school. I started working at a tanning salon. I had this boyfriend that I thought was the love of my life, and I thought we were going to get married and all this stuff. And then we broke up, and I was still doing music, like playing gigs here and there. And I wanted to go to school for music too, but I didn't know where. And then my dad had moved to Muscle Shoals, Alabama. And he was like, come out here and visit, come out here. I also, before I visited there, I actually got signed to an independent label with my friend William Saunders. And that was really cool and fun. And he had a recording studio at his house.
Here in town?
Yeah, in Kansas City.
The studio was in his house?
Yeah, okay. Saunders Street Records is what he was called. And this was, 10, 12 years ago. So I don't think he does it anymore, but the other people on the label were Heather Thornton. She's a jazz singer in town. She still plays. And then Jennifer, oh my gosh, I can't remember her last name right now. I love her to death. But I want to say Lawrence, but that's not right. That's a celebrity. Anyway, it was a fun time. And then my dad was kind of like a dadager, and he wanted to show me Muscle Shoals. And I don't know if you know the history behind that place.
No.
It's pretty incredible. Long story short, Aretha Franklin recorded there in the 60s. It was a huge place to record in the 60s and 70s. So
what kind of music?
Soul. So, and like rock.
R&B and rock.
Yeah, like the Stones recorded Wild Horses at one of the studios there. Wow. And there's been so many.
Matt, do you remember when Jimmy Bratcher was in here? Was that the place that he's gone to before? Do you remember him talking about one of the early recording studios that's still...
I think most of the stuff he was talking about was in Nashville.
Okay, all right. I was trying to... That's interesting.
It was very, very fun.
I've seen a documentary or something that this has come up on. I just can't pull it up in my brain right now.
I think it's just called Muscle Shoals documentary, I want to say. So I visited there. My dad was living there, and I fell in love with it. And I came back home that weekend, and I still had the boyfriend or whatever, and I was working at this tanning salon, and one of my friends from high school came in, and she was like, you should move there. You should just go. Do it. You only get one life, and don't let anyone hold you back. And And so I did. I moved there and I went to school there for 1.5 years for music business. And I was partying way too much. I was addicted to Adderall at that point in my life. Way too skinny, drinking, smoking weed on top of that. And then this person came into my life who was in a band who I thought was really cool. And then he kind of like tried to kill me. And so I had to come back home. But
Yikes.
Yeah. So luckily my mom dropped everything she was doing, and she was living in Lee Summit at the point, and came and got me, and we just got the heck out of there. But the good things about the place there were I met a lot of great people who were studio musicians or studio, session musicians, and that played for like Little Richard and Willie Nelson. And I made friends with these older men that my dad had met that kind of mentored me into like how to be, like a humble and like good musician, So
that's awesome.
It was amazing.
I mean,
it was.
The good side was awesome. The
good side was great.
Was not so great, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you got back to Kansas City, and what got you into what you would call your music career around here? Like, did you jump right back into the music scene when you got back here?
I did. I did, and then I didn't at the same time. I was playing. It probably took me about a year to get like a residency gig. I remember coming home and like getting the ink paper. Is that what it was called? You know what I'm talking about?
Magazine.
Yeah, Ink magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I would get it from like Hy-Vee, and I was living with my mom at the time, and I would like. I remember
the precursor to the Pitch, or was Pitch still around then too? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ink, I remember it, but
yeah, it's like the Pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go in there, and I remember seeing Samantha Fish in there, and like I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do, So I wrote down at one point somewhere in like my bucket list, like break into the Kansas City music scene. And so I kind of just reached out to different places, like, here's what I can do, and I just emailed people, or I'd call them, different restaurants or whatever, and I would see where they would have music at, like in the Ink magazine, because they used to say, like, here's who's playing.
Yeah, right.
Where? And I would just reach out and say, can I play? And then I would play at the American Garage in Lee Summit. It's not there anymore. Every Wednesday. At Barrel 31, which is
like 10 years ago, maybe, or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, I would say I wasn't even 21 yet. And then I played there for like a year every Wednesday, and at the same time I was skateboarding a lot. Like every day I was skateboarding.
That's awesome.
I got into that like heavily because after that had happened to me in Alabama, I kind of felt like I can't trust people. And I just wanted to be like on my own and like do my own thing and like find empowerment for myself. And so I just needed like a little break from music. And I started skateboarding. I also forgot to mention.
Were you good at it?
I got good at it. A little bit.
Any videos?
Oh, yeah.
We need to stick one of those in this interview right here.
I have one on my Facebook.
You need to send it to Matt. Let us get it in here.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I also forgot to mention, so I told you I was signed to that label when I was 18, right? And then I got dropped from it. But in between moving to Alabama and being like getting dropped from that label, I tried out for American Idol. And I made it to Hollywood.
What?
When I was 18.
Amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a crazy experience.
Tell us about it.
Okay.
What year was this?
2011.
Okay.
So it was season 11.
Okay.
And the judges were Steven Tyler, Randy Jackson, and Jennifer Lopez. and I sang a song by Laura Bell Bundy, Giddy On Up. That was my first song that I did in the audition. And then I sang, and they were like, can you give us something else? And then I sang Love Me Like a Man by Bonnie Raitt. Well, John Hyatt wrote that song, but Bonnie Raitt is the cover that I fell in love with. And they were like, I see something in this girl. And they sent me to Hollywood.
Wow.
And I didn't make it past the first round in Hollywood, but it was a great experience.
Cool.
Yeah, it was very fun.
Fun stuff. Mm-hmm. So, man, you're skateboarding.
Mm-hmm. And I started skateboarding.
Yeah. Did you ever, did you get good enough to where you were hanging out with some of the better, because the scene, kind of 10 years ago, it kind of took off a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. That whole skateboard scene. I interviewed, Matt used to skateboard, and we got a hold of Brian Sumner.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember him. He
Skate for Birdhouse.
Oh, very cool.
He was from Liverpool and got recruited as a 15 or 16-year-old, moved to the States. His parents let him, and anyway.
So my husband's a skateboarder.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's how we met. We're in those years. 2013, 14 is when we met. And he rides for Escapist.
He still does? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
What's your husband's name?
Josh White.
Oh, okay.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, I forgot what I was
So
gonna
he's
say,
a pro
but
skater.
He's not pro, but he rides for a team, so he's sponsored.
Yeah.
I know what I was going to say now. Yeah,
I've been a sponsored competitive cyclist for a number of years.
Have you really?
Yeah, I don't do it much anymore, but I cycle a lot.
Then you're really good.
I mountain bike and compete and stuff. Well, I'm a little overweight and fat right now, but anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
But I still try.
That's so good for you too.
Yeah,
It's amazing for you.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's get into, so you've played, I noticed right now, by the way, folks, if you want to hear Nicki live, you're playing at O'Dowd's right now. Is that every Saturday night?
Every Saturday from 2 to 5.
Okay.
So it's late afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, early evening.
And I heard you at Trago. And are you playing any place else regularly right now?
Yes. So right now I'm at the Phoenix. Starting in August, I'll be there every first and third Thursday.
Okay.
And then I'll play there on the weekends sometimes. But then other than that, I'll play other little places like Trago. Trago actually closed.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
She was telling me that she might close it because she's opening up the new place down in, is it the West Bottoms? So she ended up opening that and closed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuego.
What's it called?
Fuego.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to go check out Fuego's.
Yeah.
Are you gonna play there
really
some?
cool. I think so.
They have a little stage or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was down in the West Bottoms a couple weeks ago for Calvin's Paradise release. He just released a new album, and that was pretty great. Pretty fun. Pretty fun.
I bet that was so cool.
Yeah. Well, cool. So tell us about let's see, you did your first album, 2018, The Good Side of You. So you're skateboarding, you're not doing music as much, but then you jump back into the music world. Yeah. This was what? 5 years, 6, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I say I wasn't in it as much, but just comparative to now where I play 2 to 3 gigs a week, then I was playing probably 1 gig a week, but I was still doing it. I just wasn't as focused on songwriting or, honing my craft. But, I was also in a couple bands I was in a band called Darling Nicki at that time. And then another band called Rivertown, which was like a country cover band. And then I wanted to make that album, and someone actually invested in me and gave me a check and for doing a charity gig. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go to Muscle Shoals and record this because this is my opportunity to do it.
Cool.
And in between that time, I found out I was pregnant. So, like, as I was recording that album, I was pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you recorded that whole album in Muscle Shoals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. No, 2 of the songs were at Meridian Studios in Overland Park.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so.
Some great songs on there. I was just been listening recently to those songs.
You.
I love Dark Ruby Red.
Thank you.
Tell me about the background of that. That's a fascinating, I love the lyrics on it.
Thank you so much. Background is.
When I hear a song like that, I'm going, where did this come from? You know?
Yeah, totally. My husband has red hair. It's like dark red hair. He's Native American, but he has dark red hair. And so that's in reference to him. And it was the feeling of, at the time, of like falling out of the honeymoon phase in our relationship. I felt like, what are we now? You know, we're not as connected as we were and like so in love as we were in the beginning of this. So it was kind of a dark place for me of trying to figure out, like, do I stay? Do I leave? What do I do? You know, I love you. Like, you put me in the spell, but, you know, and...
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just that feeling of falling out of the honeymoon phase. We're doing great now.
Great. Good. Well, yeah, that's some great songs. So you kind of hit sometimes blues, sometimes a little alternative, sometimes sound a little bit folk.
Yeah.
A little folk, but you're fairly eclectic. It's not like you're doing one genre all the time.
No, I can't choose one.
And you even country you like too, right? Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to choose one when you have ADHD.
So when you wrote 420 Queen, was that after you'd quit smoking weed or before?
It had to have been after, because I started getting panic attacks and like paranoia, like I talk about in that song. So yeah, after.
I have somebody I know that hadn't smoked weed in forever, and then, you know, with it all legal now and everything like that, she had hurt herself, and she decided to do a edible to see if it would help her sleep and deal with her pain. And evidently she took a sativa instead of an indica. Am I saying that right? Is it sativa? And it literally flipped her out. She got super paranoid. It flipped her out.
I get it.
She's like, I'm never doing that again.
I totally get it. It's not fun. I don't see how people have so much fun doing it. I wish I could.
Well, if you get, I wasn't a pastor anymore, and I was in this really dark space, and I had a buddy who was going for a medical marijuana license. So I actually helped raise funds for one of the dispensaries here in Kansas City.
Oh, wow. Which one?
Besame.
Okay.
You familiar with? It's kiss me, it means in Spanish. But there's probably 5 of them here in town.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But anyway.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of medical research behind all of that is going to come out even more and more now. But yeah,
very true.
Yeah. So what's on the horizon for you? What are some of the projects? Because if you go, what's your YouTube?
I think it's just Nicki White music.
NICKI
Yep.
White.com is your website. Mama whatever they call that. Underscore Nicki White is your Instagram. What's your YouTube is just Nicki White?
I think so.
Okay. So those are the places, and of course Bandcamp and Spotify and Apple and all those places, but that's where you can kind of get your music. You've done the album, you've done some singles. You're performing around town at Phoenix, O'Dowd's, and maybe this new spot in the West Bottoms, right?
Yeah, just honestly wherever I can, just about. Like, I'll be at Park Place on Friday, July 14th. It's in Town Center area. And then I play at like Lake Lotawana, at Tipsy Taco. I'll play wherever I can, so all around town. But yeah, what's in the works for me is I am trying to do a new album.
And what genre is it going to be? Mixed again?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be mixed. I'm still trying to decide because I think I'll do some of my songs today that are, they might be a separate EP, but there's an album of songs that I want to do that are more like pop, like in country and blues, that I want to do. That some of the songs I wrote like 12 years ago, and I've not released them or recorded them, and I play them live all the time.
Oh, nice.
But I haven't recorded them for whatever reason. So
yeah.
I need to do that.
And when I heard you live, you did some covers, but you did do some of your own solo stuff as well. I can't remember which songs because this is the first time I was hearing. But
yeah, and you're with your family too, so I don't blame you.
yeah. But yeah, well, cool. So what are you just in the writing phase still? Are you still trying to figure out which songs are going to be on the album, or are you actually in the recording? Are you?
I went and recorded one of the songs on last Thursday at Weights and Measures with Dwayne, and I told him, hey, I want to make an album, so you're going to be seeing more of my face. And however long it'll take, I don't really have like a timeline on it, but so.
Well, fun. Well, I thought I loved what you did live, and you've got great stage presence, energy. Your vocals are great, and it's fun to see. You played a couple of different. Do you just play your guitar? No, you do electric. You go to acoustic, electric, and is that the main two things?
I haven't right now. I've been doing my Gibson acoustic and then my G&L electric. It's like a Strat.
Yeah, that's fun.
Thank you.
Well, cool stuff. Well, let's do a couple songs here. Let's let people hear you.
Yeah,
hear you sing. All right. We'll take a break here, and for the audience, you'll hear her right away. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. But let me just encourage you too. If you're one of our regular listeners, consider being a part of our support team. You can go to the website spiritualityadventures.com and jump on and help support. You'll get some of the bonus content and some of the bonus features that we do, and we really appreciate our audience who helps support Spirituality Adventures. So thanks a bunch, and here's Nicki. What songs are you going to do?
I think I'm going to do Warrior and Opalite Sky.
Okay. I don't think I've heard either one then. All right, cool.
I'm Nicki White, and this is called Warrior. I've been pained, underappreciated. I've been wrong That don't mean I can't change. I can change. I'm worthy. Still as a tree, reaching out forever and on. The soul elongates, it's everlasting. I didn't know that for so long. Sliding clouds, glares on the walls. It's easier than ever now to do what I've been told. I am worthy, even though I might fall. I am grateful. I am grateful. Give me grace. Give me peace. Ask and you shall reclaim what you really need. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. Hey, hey. I am worthy. I am worthy. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. I am worthy. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. I am worthy. Hey, hey. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. We are worthy. We are worthy. We are what we are.
This concludes today's episode. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember to like, share, or subscribe to the social media platform that you're using. And then go to our website, spiritualityadventures.com, and make a one-time donation, or you can subscribe monthly and receive our special bonus content. Thanks so much.